Hello,
And we're
hello.
live. Yes, I clicked the button.
You did
It
click
says
the
we're
button. You
live,
did.
but it also says zero
Excellent.
people are watching us. So I'll give it a second for
Well,
everything to come in the
that's
chat. If
never.
if we're live, give us like a some sort of emoji in the chat. Surprise me. Now we got 68 people. Let's go. It's working.
Richard, zero people watching us has never stopped us before. We bring the energy, whether it's zero or 1,000. So thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for enduring the past couple of minutes as we worked out some tech issues. We're here. We're excited. I'll introduce, like, you may know Richard and I. This is, gosh, what is this? It's probably our third one, Richard, that we're kicking off together. Yeah. Thank you, sir. There's all our contact info. You can hit up everything, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, all the socials. We are part of the DevRel team. We've been doing this a while. We love building. We love working with you. This is the favorite part of my job. And I don't know about you all, like, with the world the way it is today, the thing that keeps me going and keeps me happy is building. Yeah. It's like, I can't control anything out there, but like, since I was a little boy, when I get to play with the new tech, I just get excited and build. And we have AI friends now that can help us build even cool stuff together. You know, it's like, this is the time. I want you to, like, take this opportunity, take a deep breath, step back. We're all here, right? Like, we're all here together and we're building things from across the world. And it, like, warms my heart when I look at all the entries and stuff too, and all the ideas, way better ideas than what Richard and I could ever come up with. So thank you for, like, being part of this, for showing up. This is just a kickoff so we can all kind of, like, level set. We'll tell you anything off the top of our heads that is, like, you know, snags you may run into, details. But we do have a team that's done an incredible job with the website, and Richard's going to show you the website so that you can always go to the website. You can always reach out to us, and we have an incredible community of DEs out there too that are helping with this. So I don't want you to ever feel like you're alone, because you aren't. You're part of a community. This hackathon is for the community, and we're going to show the world where this space is headed, right? Because I can't take this past year, I've been in New York so many times talking to some of the biggest companies. Like, this space is real. Stable coins, tokenization, and all these other categories out there, right? Like Richard and I, it's like, be careful what you wish for, right? We've got a whole bunch of more work within that financial space. But folks, we have a whole bunch of work with, like, real financial space, real institutions going on. Like, this stuff is just, the momentum is incredible, and you're all part of that. So thank you. This is just quick agenda here. I guess why don't we recap Chromion? I don't know if you can all see. I got this from Sophia. I know a lot of you know Sophia. So if you see that cool bag, it's like, you know, like a rainbow hologram from the 80s. That was our last year's hackathon, Chromion. What was it before that, Richard? It was the Block Magic, I think. Block Magic. I like Block Magic. As you could tell, all tell I like fantasy, high fantasy, and magic and stuff. All right. So previous hackathon, 413 submissions. We had thousands of you. By the way, we've already had thousands. I don't know if I can give out the numbers yet, but thousands of you have already registered for this, right? So over 3,000 participants. A third of you were completely new to blockchain development, and that's an area of passion for mine. Is like, blockchain can be so intimidating when you first hear about it, right? It's like generative AI too. It's like, how the heck do I even build a model, right? Or the first time if you ever use Claude Code, like the first time going through Terminal and trying to set all that up. But it's so empowering when you know it, and the entire, you know, financial world is going this way. So the fact that we're bringing new people in this space, I really hope we get to see that again this year. And 56% participating in their first Web3 hackathon is incredible as well. So I'm sure we'll see numbers.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, we're going to talk about this later on when we're talking about submitting. But just if you're new to this space, if you're like, hey, what is a hackathon? You're checking it out. Keep an eye on those numbers, right? Like, over half the people, this was their first Web3 hackathon. So, and they submitted a project, and like that's a big thing. Submitting a project, because that's how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you can, like, you know, get an idea of what this space is actually about.
Yeah, and it can be so confusing, right? In 2026, I mean, like, this space. So I've been, you'll all see my background out there. I'm like an OG in tech, right? Like, decades, and I've survived through that. And how I survived for that is I love learning, And so like you hear in the news, right? You hear like job reports, you hear all this, or like, as a software developer, your job might be going. And it's like the way that I've always pivoted, y'all, is in spaces where there's not enough people and there's huge adoption. This space right now, Web3, DeFi, there is like, do you know the numbers, Richard? Like it is maybe 1% of like the normal developers out there. So you want to talk about opportunity where you're not competing against all the other millions of developers that are wondering if they're going to go to work and their jobs there in big tech. Like there's not enough people in this space right now. And so participating in this space, getting the space, becoming an expert now, while every single like financial company out there is ready to tokenize and start doing blockchain, like I want that to put a smile on your face. So the fact that we saw that last year, I think we're going to see even more of that this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So Convergence.
About this hackathon, and you'll notice something with this logo. Like Chainlink's always big on the logos and the branding here, but you'll notice like there's something hidden in this logo here, Dave. I don't know if you're picking up on it, but the C, R, and E look different to me.
Yes. So I did not pick up on that the first time.
No?
That's awesome.
Oh, okay.
That shows you like my awareness. Right? I guess I didn't stare at it long enough. Maybe I was too busy playing World of Warcraft. No, I'm sorry. I was too busy working hard, Richard. So CRE, and I guess we'll get in with that stuff. We'll get into it. But like, there's been a couple of like monumental shifts for developers in my career that I've seen. And like when I was doing early websites, y'all, it sucked. Like we were literally doing HTML tags, right? And like everything was manual. This space has been manual. You've literally had to put together the infrastructure. It's like being in an airplane while it's being built, right? While you're trying to solve problems. And CRE, which is the Chainlink runtime environment, is like when I worked at Microsoft and helped launch .NET, right? It's like when .NET came out. And I remember using Java when the Java runtime engine came out. It made it as a developer that you could just concentrate on solving problems and not building your own infrastructure. And the way to think about it as a developer is we've never had in this space the ability to just connect workflows and just schedule tasks and jobs. And it does that securely, right? And it does it the same exact way for us. So we can just build and connect things. If you've ever tried sending things across different chains or you've learned different chains, right? That stuff is like gone now with CRE and you all have access to that. So I'll shut up about CRE, but it is one of the things for this hackathon. I think that you are going to be absolutely delighted with when you start using it, and it's going to be huge for what it allows you to do.
For sure. So yeah, let's dive into what to expect in this hackathon.
Yeah. So building real apps, right? We don't want to do demos, and I'll change names to protect the innocent, but let's just say that there's Samuel out there, and Samuel thought if I just go and clone some of the GitHub repos and submit that, maybe that'll be a good submission, right? It's not the lottery, y'all. It's not like, make a submission and just see if you get picked. It's not an algorithm. It's Richard and I and a couple of other people like looking at this stuff, right? And so we're looking for something real world. Now, it doesn't have to be, like, it's not a requirement for it to be officially deployed. And that's one of the things you can do with CRE is you can run it all locally. So if you have a local simulated workflow that's working, we can run that and see it. So that should, you should take a breath now, be like, I don't have to, deploy this thing out to a test net, worry about getting tokens, doing all that. Like the stuff you could actually do local and have that working is all you need to do. All right. But you want to focus on that real world. And there's, there's categories that we want you to think about here, right? Really high impact stuff. And we're trying to help you here in that we see this every day from customers. Like if somebody's going to want Dave's time, it's going to be in this space. It's going to be DeFi. It's going to be tokenization, prediction markets, risk and compliance, right? Compliant capital. If you've ever done anything with traditional finance, that is something, especially with the Genius Act and now the Clarity Act coming, that is huge for those folks. And being able to make that real. I remember at SmartCon going through and showing in code an actual function that explains what the stablecoin does for proof of reserves. And I'm like, this is because of the Genius Act want you to do this. And people like, that's the first time I've ever seen the tech get tied back to the legislation, right? And so stuff like that. And do you want to talk about the privacy thing too, Richard? I know that's a category too that
I'll talk about that as we go through the prize categories.
Okay, so there's another thing I just want you all to think as you're starting to go through these use cases. We're going to give you, you're going to be so excited. This is like a special announcement, almost like we're going to give you a tool where you could do private transactions. And I think you're just going to be delighted with that, because I know that's a lot of buzz and a lot of talk within this space too. But I don't want to steal Richard's thunder. I'll let him talk about it. So 100,000 plus in prizes, right? There's not just the prizes, there's exposure. Like one, we're all going to see it, but you're going to have post hackathon exposure. It's you want to build and focus on real cases for that, because there's real money on the line, there's real opportunity and exposure. And then of course, I learn by build. I am very much, even in my life, I am a FOFA, right? Or how's it go? FOFO. You could tell me like, Dave, go see an expert, talk to them for 5 minutes and you'll figure it out. And I'll be like, no, I'd rather watch 30 hours of YouTube videos and do it myself. That's just the way I am. I know a lot of like developers are that way too. So you're going to get hands-on here. So even if you're like, at the end, you're like, you know what, I'm not going to submit it. You're going to learn, right? What's better in February 2026 than actually increasing your skills with actual support from all of us? And we want you to succeed.
Yeah, no, for sure. It is that building is probably the best way to learn, right? Because you can read about things, but until you actually get your, I don't know what to call it, get your fingertips dirty on some keyboards, you don't, really know what's going on, for sure. And with that, like if you get stuck, there will be the availability to talk to, us, the DevRel team, some of our developer experts as well, to actually get that hands-on support too. So if you ever feel like, you don't know what's going on and you can't figure it out and your AI friends have let you down, the real world friends, we can help you out too. So
truth.
With that, I think I'm going to talk about prizes and sponsors. And we've got all these prizes, all these different tracks, but I don't know. I spend a lot of time in slides and presentations and it gets kind of boring. And we have this amazing website that we have for the hackathon. If you go to chain.link/hackathon, it's going to have all of the information you could ever need about this hackathon. And I'm just going to refresh this because, this is how I noticed it, Dave. I'm not super smart. See, it's CRE and then it expands. And that's how you see that CRE is in there. So this hackathon is all about CRE, right? We want you to build with CRE. We want you to build, all your projects need to have some piece of CRE in them. When we talk about the prizes here, we can kind of just look through each of these tracks. So the first one that we've got here is DeFi and tokenization. First place, 12,000, second place, 8,000. When we're looking at these, we've got examples like stablecoin issuance, if you want to tokenize an asset, custom proof of reserve data feed using CRE. I'll give you a little hint if you want to work down that. There's some examples in the docs of that one especially. But, like Dave said, it's not just submitting the demo, right? So like that's a good place to start is with the demos that are in the docs, but you want to go further than that. I really think that this, like, of these tracks, if I was picking one, I'd probably pick this one or maybe the last one that I'm going to talk about. But that's just because I'm interested in them. It's nothing about like where the space is, just like, these kind of call out to me. We've got CRE and AI. AI is all over the place right now. CRE lets you actually interact with different APIs and stuff like that. This is about using AI assistants in those workflows and integrating like the agents into the workflow itself. We've done some workshops around this space in the past. If you want to look those up, they'll be on our YouTube channel, and I'm sure we'll have workshops with this hackathon for that as well. That's another thing that I don't think we really touched on yet, Dave, is that we're going to have workshops that'll give you the experience you need to start building with these as well. So you're not going to be just on your own. And those will be led by different members of this team, the DEs and partners as well. So
yeah, it gets along. It's a good point, Richard. It gets along with the training as well. So like as part of this, if you just set a bare minimum goal, I'm going to learn, we're all going to be doing workshops for you where you can jump in and you're getting fresh content. We're making the stuff now. It's not just the website. It's people that have been building on this are going to go ahead and, give you the straight up. And then there's a Discord channel and everything too happening at the same time. You can hop in.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got prediction markets. Those are super, super in vogue right now, man. They do better at predicting what's going to happen than I think anybody else. It's kind of funny. I think about Chainlink, and we started off as a, Chainlink is the distributed Oracle network, right? Like that's what we do here. And then I think about the fact that prediction markets are kind of like, the Oracle from old tales, like Greek and Roman tales, that's predicting the future. But when it comes to prediction markets, UCRE, you could even, kind of double dip here, right? Like AI powered prediction market settlements. So, you can kind of go into both of these. When it comes to that, you can submit to multiple tracks. You can create a project that does every single track in one giant project and submit it for every single track. One thing to note is you're only going to be eligible to win one of those tracks. So you can submit to all of them, but if you win, it's only going to be in one of them. So we've got those AI-powered prediction markets, event-driven market resolution with off-chain data, and then private prediction markets using our confidential compute and private transactions. I'll talk more about that in just a moment, but that's pretty cool. We've got risk and compliance. With CRE, we also have, ACE coming into the space. There's the only thing I will say. Occasionally, when you say those three letters together, your Apple friends are like, hey, you're ignoring me. So I probably should have unplugged that speaker before I started this. But we've got risk and compliance. So this is focused on monitoring safeguards, things like ACE, if you're not familiar with it. It's the automated compliance engine, which these are going to be applications that focus on, compliance spaces, ensuring that only the right people or people who are eligible to interact with systems are doing it and stuff like that. We've got risk monitoring systems here, real-time reserve health checks, and then protocol safety guard triggers. It's kind of like, making sure that like if you're on a sanctions list, you can't interact with a coin, stuff like that. I think as Dave was talking about, all the time that he's been spending in New York, a lot of the space moving into the TradFi space, like compliance is probably like the last piece that they really, really need to have like nailed down and understand and get their head around when it comes to the blockchain space in order for them to fully adopt it. Because, man, I used to work at Fidelity, and compliance and all the requirements, it is no joke. I used to always joke, speaking of no joke, I used to always joke that like, even when I worked there, I was, doing software engineering, but I had to do all this training about like, countries that we couldn't, trade with and all this stuff. And it's like, if somebody calls you and you're trying to execute a trade for them and they're on the phone and then they say they're from this country, what do you do? And I'm like, if somebody's on the phone with me trying to execute a trade, like things are really, really wrong because they should never be talking to me. But that's how serious, like, the TradFi space takes compliance, is even the people who aren't actively involved in it are part of the trainings and making sure that they follow everything.
Yeah. And 100%. And one of the things you learn is nobody trusts anybody.
No.
It's why it takes so long, people. Like the reason stuff takes like 3 to 5 business days is because you can't trust any numbers you get from anybody. You can't trust, there's delivery versus payment, right? Like there's DVP. Mm-hmm. There's entire companies that are almost like holding houses, as they're like, yeah, that person did what it said. And like when I teach blockchain, like I start off with the Byzantine generals and trustless, right? Is like human beings, in order to work with each other, we've always had to trust, and there's counterparty risk. And blockchain allowed us to interact as human beings, and I don't have to trust you at all. It's math.
Right.
So you want to talk about like, and that is what traditional finance has seen, and Sergey and the team and everybody that's been down, like I'm sure you've all seen that online, like all last year, the year before, down in DC, educating folks, when they get that, they're like, the fact I can actually do business now and trust is taken care of, that eliminates like 90% of the waste in this system. And suddenly we're moving at lightning speeds, right? So shout out to Bitcoin Lightning Network. But, it's like, that's the unlock, so the risk and the compliance is all because human beings can change their minds and do things like, no, I'm not going to pay you that. Or I felt like not sending it, we all know in blockchain that doesn't happen. If it's in a smart contract, it's in a smart contract, right? So that's, I think there's a great point. I think it's the entire industry. All the legislation is based around that too. It's based around human beings being human beings. Yeah. Yeah,
for sure. And then the last track that I'm going to talk about real quick is this privacy track. It is, this is like hot off the press. You may note in here that like it'll be available on February 14th. Like that's how fresh this is. This is like actively being worked on. It's going to be, the latest breaking stuff coming here that you can build with. So you will have to wait to start building with it just a little bit. I know, but it's going to be available. It's a nice little Valentine's present from Chainlink to you.
Do you still have the soundboard, Richard? I feel like it's not.
I don't have the soundboard anymore. I'm
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, announcing privacy.
But yeah, so this new track, it'll be available the week of I guess it's the 15th because Sunday is the 14th, maybe? I don't know. Calendar's hard. So yeah, it'll be available in just a few days. We'll have this track available for you. We've got private transactions. We've got confidential HTTP coming into CRE. So this allows you to do things like sending, making requests through HTTP with your private keys and whatever sort of secrets you have in those requests secured so that not even the Dons see them, which is pretty cool. I know that in the security space, like that's something that people were worrying about is like, well, we've got these secrets, but then if the Don can see them, are they really secrets? So with this new confidential compute stuff that's going on here with confidential ATP private transactions, not even the Don sees this stuff. So that's pretty awesome.
And we're going to have a workshop. We're going to do a workshop on the 15th too. So
yes,
we'll help you get started.
Yes. Yeah. So this will be like, it is brand new. So we'll have a workshop for that. Like Dave said, on the 15th, we talked about this back at SmartCon last year about how confidential compute unlocks private smart contracts. It is in active development, like I mentioned. So this is kind of like a sneak peek. So just kind of keep that in mind too when you're building with it. Like this is like cutting edge Chainlink tech. And we'll look at through some of the use cases here in just a second. But yeah, so there will be a workshop coming the week of the 16th. I don't know. Is it on the 15th for sure, Dave? It's the week of the 16th. I know that.
Subject to change. This stuff's happening so fast, but
yes,
around there.
Yeah. And then we've got that HTTP capability, like I mentioned, where you can do those API calls and have the workflows with the encrypted secrets, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, let's take a look at some of these use cases too, just to get your juices flowing, get some ideas going about what you could build. So we've got like sealed auctions with private payments. You could have a private treasury and fund operations. That sounds pretty cool. Private governance, payouts, and incentives. Again, you'll notice like a lot of this is what you normally have seen going on in this space, but just with privacy sprinkled in there, which is really powerful, I think. You got, reward and revenue distribution as well. And then, secure API integrations, stuff like that, access to high risk APIs where the secrets are maintained. I'm not going to read all these off. Y'all can read, I hope, if you're here and typing things up and submitting them to the hackathon. So with that, the last thing that we have is the top 10 projects. This is just kind of our catch-all for, man, this project, it maybe didn't win, its category like privacy or DeFi, but it was still really awesome. So this is, our just catch-all, like, this is an awesome project bucket here. I will also note, like, when it comes to reading things, each of these is going to have requirements, what's required for them to be submitted. Just to kind of cover that real quick. When it comes to your submission, you don't have to fully deploy your CRE workflow because that requires like a mainnet component. You do need to have it simulated and you need to have a video of that simulation that's publicly viewable. So we need to see like what your project does and then that you actually ran the simulation when you're using CRE or, if you did deploy it, all of that. We are going to need access to your GitHub repo. It'll need to be public and then a README file that has an explanation of what's going on in your project and then a link to where you're actually using Chainlink. And this is where I will say this. How many submissions did we have to the last hackathon, Dave? It was like 1,000, 3,000, something like that.
Yeah.
Or no, yeah, it was crazy high, right? So our team's not that big, and we're going to be looking through these things ourselves. So make our lives easy, and that'll make your chance of winning better, right? Like if we can look at your project and see what it does, we understand like what your project's doing, and we understand how you're using CRE in your project. That's going to make it easier for us to go, yes, this is an awesome project. So that's where the README comes in. That 3 to 5 minute video, just make sure, you've got it explaining what your project's doing and show us it working. It's pretty simple. And that 3 to 5 minutes, keep it to 5 minutes or less, y'all. Like we said, there's a lot of projects that are submitted And so, you know, we've got to watch all those videos. Again, just to reiterate one last time, simulated via the CLI for CRE is fine. So that's all you need to do.
Yeah, and you know, in the past, you know, we've had these hackathons on other sites, so there was confusion around where do I put my GitHub, where do I do the video. The teams made it very streamlined this year. You're going to be able to submit right on this website. So you just register on a hackathon website and you just submit right from our hackathon website, and hopefully that'll have a lot less friction for you all.
Yeah. Cool. So with that, we'll talk about some of our partners here, sponsors, and some of the tracks that they've got going on. So we've got World here, and I'm going to bring Mateo on to the stage real quick, and he's going to talk about the World tracks. Hey, Mateo, how's it going?
Hey. How you doing, guys?
Doing great.
Pretty cool. Okay. So I want to start talking about like World by stating our mission or our plan, that is to build the first real human network. So that's the goal. That's what we do. Of course, everything that we do is kind of public, so you can go and access our repos and check it out by yourselves. I think there is going to be more information there, so you can go and check. But basically, what we want to do here is incentivize you to build a use case for World ID. So World ID is one of our two SDKs that we have, basically allowing you to verify proofs of like real humans in different like levels of credentials in any type of standalone app and web app. So right now, World ID is natively supported in only Ethereum, OP, and World Chain. And what we want here is for you to move World ID into other chains and expand its usage. For the second track that we have, it's use cases for mini apps. So last year we launched mini apps. You might also know what mini apps are, but basically web views inside a different app. And so basically websites running inside an app. We huge success in this program, getting more than 600 mini apps with 2.5 billion total opens in just 1.5 years. Pretty cool distribution. This is the place where we incentivize people to go and seek for distribution. And mini apps only support World Chain. So this track invites you to use CRE within a mini app to leverage applications, data, protocols, or whatever to do with CRE on mini apps to make our users know more things other than World Chain stuff. That's kind of it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thanks. And I definitely, I will say when y'all first started with World, like verifying humanness, you know, I was a little skeptical. I was like, you know, it's like, okay, fine, like making sure people are real people, but with how things have gone with AI in the past, even just like 2 weeks, man, y'all were onto something before me at least, because like the ability to ensure that you're, you know, interacting with a human online has become way more valuable in my opinion in the past 2 weeks, even just with like everything that's going on with all of the AI agents.
I gotta share a quick funny story. So I don't know, you probably all of you, I mean, you're in this space, you've probably been following it. I have an OpenClaw bot. His name's Gandalf. We're buds. He's incredible. And like I have him go and like, you know, we're working on stuff together, and he's got a personality. He runs on Opus 4.5. So he's like, you know, Anthropic literally put a soul in that Gen AI, man. It's insane. So he's running into something, and I get a text message from him, and he's like, Dave, they got me. They stopped me with the CAPTCHA. I need your human powers. And he's like describing the CAPTCHA. So I go in, I log in with the CAPTCHA. Yes, I'm human. He's like, thanks, bud. And then he was able to continue. And I was like, yeah, man, it's like, you know, human AI bot, like it's along the same lines there, you know, making sure I am talking to an organic human versus the bot version of myself. So very cool. Thank you so much, man. Yeah. Appreciate you being here with all of us.
Yeah, thanks, Dale.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, and now I'm going to bring on Philip from Tenderly to talk about their track as well. Hey, Philip.
So, I assume everybody here knows about Tenderly, but I will just give briefly about what it is. So it's a full stack infrastructure company. It has debuggers, gas profilers, a ton of things. But I want to specifically talk here about virtual testnets, and specifically that this kind of bounty is around CRE workflows on top of virtual testnets. So VNets, that's kind of how we call it, are kind of simulated blockchain environments, and they're designed to be totally replicating networks. So there is a feature that we call state sync that gets you kind of forked environment, but everything is totally synced. So Oracle prices, liquidity, and everything. So you can just build your workflow as if it is on real chain. So you build it locally on a Foundry node, and when you want to see, okay, let's see how the whole liquidity goes, and even cross-chain things, you can spin up multiple VNets and then test out different workflows. So, for example, how bridging on CCIP works, how all of those things are going to work. You can test it out with VNets. So the use cases and how you can use it is tremendous. And even there is kind of, I would say, my second favorite feature, which is Faucet, that gets you all of the tokens of your world, and then you can do whatever. You can fund Ethereum, you can fund USDT, you can fund anything, and then you can just play around with it. And even you can impersonate any account. It's kind of like fully admin god mode on top of Web3 and blockchain. So, and specifically that is for development. In this case, so what you need to do is build a CRE workflow and then just deploy it on virtual testnet and then showcase how it is being run on top of virtual testnets. And you just need to provide Explorer link alongside your submission. There is VNets Explorer link that you will need to kind of create and enable public exploration. And that's pretty much it. And then just showcase that your workflow works. Same as in the video. I think this Explorer can be a great way to showcase everything works. So that's pretty much on the submission. And regarding use case, I'll just say a couple of things that is interesting for me. First is kind of cross-chain bridging. I think that would be a great thing because you don't need to mock the data. You can just trigger it. Another one is data feeds. So you can get the Oracle prices and everything pulled in automatically, so you can play around with that. And also, as everybody mentioned here, AI and agents, so you can play around with this different strategies, different states, different options, how to maximize P&L. So for prediction markets, for example, or whatever you want. So that's pretty much it.
Awesome, thanks. Yeah, I have a love-hate relationship with Tenderly because normally when I'm using y'all, it's because something has gone terribly wrong. And then you help me out a lot, so I end up loving you. Yeah. You know? But I always come there like, oh, everything's broken and nothing is working. Why not? Tenderly will help me.
Maybe in future you can start using it in local so nothing breaks.
Yeah, that would be true. That'd be a good point. Well, thanks so much, Philip. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. We also have a track from Third Web as well. So using their tools within your project. So you need to build an agent that can observe real world or on-chain data, make decisions, execute transactions without human intervention. So I guess, that's kind of in contrast to Worlds one right there, but hey, both sides of that coin. So, and a prediction market platform with trust minimized market resolution as well. So if you want to submit to them, they've got 3 different prize categories there as well. So that's our prizes. We'll kind of fast forward through those prizes here. Yeah, and so on that chain.link/hackathon, that's where all the details are, all the requirements for submitting, how to submit, everything like that. Going into the rules and eligibility, Dave, do you want to chat about this?
Yeah, sure. I feel like I should be like an AI bot voice. Please see overall rules for participation. We are an inclusive community, and violence and discrimination will not be tolerated. Thank you. Yeah, this is just legal disclaimers. We have one of the best communities. I've been part of different communities. I don't know if you you'll see this if you look up history. I was one of the original team that launched Alexa, and I wound up being face of that for a while. And I used to get hate DMs of you've ruined my daughter's life who's named Alexa. So the community can go anywhere, and you are all everybody's in this together kind of community. Like I've seen a bunch of different communities, and like I've never seen the issues around here. So just normal legal disclaimer stuff, and nothing that I worry about. Go ahead, Richard. Next one. Okay, so Richard mentioned a lot about this already. It's on the website. Just wanted to reiterate here. Project description, use cases, the stack, the architecture, all of that is just so that we can actually make it run too. We want to see it, right? We want to use it. We do review these things and actually, use them. So just like they've always told you, like write code that you're not the one that's inheriting the project. That never worked out for me. I couldn't even read my own code in the future, but it's just helping out the person after you. It's the same for us. Make sure that you're writing it so that it's as easy as possible for us to go ahead and review that. So you want 3 to 5 minute publicly viewable video, right? That is a requirement. We want a publicly accessible source code, so just throw that up on your GitHub, and a README that links to all the files. Sometimes we would get a GitHub project, but it's a huge GitHub project. And so Richard and I are searching for libraries of Chainlink that we know to see if we find it in there, and it'll be in there. But I just wasted 5 minutes going through your entire GitHub, project. So it's kind of specifically where you're using that stuff helps us to follow the rules for each of the great sponsors that you've seen here today, and then build, simulate, or deploy. As Richard mentioned, you can contact us, you can contact the team on Discord or email. If you do want to go all out, you feel really good about your project, you want to deploy it all the way, you can do that. Otherwise, as long as you can run it in the simulation, and that's really a game changer you'll see with CRE, is you're simulating doing all this locally. You're not getting hit with test nets and everything else that can slow you down as a blockchain developer.
But if you want to, the cool thing about the local simulator too is if you want to, you can actually write to the blockchain from that simulation. So you can read and write from actual blockchains with the simulator as well. So it's pretty powerful, pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then just
yeah, go ahead.
Just covering some key dates. We've got the kickoff. That's today, right? Yeah, that's today. Okay, cool. We're at the right time, right place. Go West, Dave. And then we've got workshops coming up. We'll have lots of hands-on ability for you to get your hands dirty, work with the stuff, get questions answered, make sure you understand everything. We will have office hours and mentorship available as well. And then the submission deadline is March 1st. I'm going to back up 1 second because I meant to say this. So March 1st, 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's super important, Eastern Standard Time. We're super global community, super global workplace. Even on our team, we've got people in the States, people in Australia, time zones are crazy. Eastern Standard Time, March 1st. I
remember that because it's we have half the team is in the future. I'm how's tomorrow doing, right? And I remember hackathon submissions, I'm stuff's coming in on their weekend. And I say, no, Dave, it's Friday at your time. Yeah. Time zones are weird. Yeah.
It's true. So with that, submit your project. I mean, that is probably my biggest piece of advice. Even if you don't think anything will come of it, submit it. It might be a really cool idea that you didn't get to finish all the way across the finish line, but you got enough of it there that, you get one of those top 10 projects. This is amazing. You should keep going with this. Throughout this, I saw in the chat too, sorry, I haven't been paying too much attention to the chat today, y'all. I apologize for that. But I did see in the chat, people in there were already asking for, looking for a group to build together to make a team, stuff like that. This is a great time to meet people in this space and work with them on these projects as well. And then, from here, during your video, you can practice your pitching skills, sell us on your project. It's always a good little thing to do there. And there definitely have been actual companies that have come out of our past hackathons, right? Where they start a project and then that turns into a startup. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. This isn't just a hackathon, right? You can turn this into an actual company, actual project that ends up being what you do.
Yeah, and the submitting your project, I know as a developer, I'm highly self-critical regardless in everything in my life. It's never good enough. It's never perfect. One of the things I found teams do that I think is successful is when you start the project, think about long-term what you want to build, but think about what you want to submit. So it's almost like you have two things. That way, mentally, you don't feel like you had to have reached everything in order to do the submission. The submission is almost a milestone in the roadmap of your idea. And then that way it makes it a lot easier to kind of give it and share it with the world, because you're already iterating. You may have already, split a code branch or pivoted on ideas, things like that.
Absolutely. And with that, if during your journey to submission, you get stuck, you need help, we do have people here for you. So we've got our Chainlink developer experts who have gone through, learned about CRE. They know the ins and outs of it. They will be available for support. So shout out to them, like huge shout out to all of our developer experts. It's awesome what you all do. I've seen some of you in the chat too. So like, thanks to all of you. I really do think you guys are, you're awesome.
Like these people are not, like paid Chainlink employees. These people are passionate about helping others. What they've learned. They're a lot are like on the same level as we are as like DevRel engineer from technical. It's incredible. And it's just it's a great vibe too. Seeing a lot of you all at SmartCon in person.
It was awesome.
Couldn't do it without you all. So thank you for being part of this.
Yeah, absolutely. How can you get in touch? So we've got the Discord chats. In there will be a channel for the hackathon for support. And, it's not just us, not just the DEs who will be helping there. If you see someone in that chat and you know how to answer their question, like help them out. It's awesome. It's also a great way to learn, right? When you're explaining to others. We've got our documentation there at docs.chain.link. And then, we've got a template repository. And then on the hackathon page, there is the FAQ if you have any questions. And with that, I think we're going to say thank you for being here, for giving your time to the hackathon, for hanging out, giving us some of your day. And yeah, I'm looking forward to your submissions. So I've only got to go back to the timeline here. I've got to wait now for like, a whole month. But then I get to see your submissions, and that excites me. So looking forward to that. And yeah,
I think, just like it says, convergence. We're at convergence. We're at convergence in life too, by the way. We're all in the fourth turning. I know it feels like every day you all wake up, there's a new change there. But we can all feel it as human beings. We're still all connected. There's still a lot of hope in the world. And I am a believer in an incredible future that's out there. And it starts with people building. It's like you can wake up every day and you can choose to consume or doom scroll, or you could build something. And I think there's just the process of creating as a human being will fill you. Trust me. And so now is the time. Commit to that. Commit to like an idea, iterating on that idea long term, not just for this hackathon. And at a base, commit to learning and really pouring into yourself and building up the skills, and just take the next couple of weeks for yourself to learn regardless of anything else. So thank you for being part of this. We super appreciate you all.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing your submissions, and good luck, and we'll see you on Discord. And with that, we're out.